little fox.
Sled hockey. My name is Mike. I play hockey. But I don't play ice hockey. I play a sport called sled hockey. Do you know what sled hockey is? Let's go to the ice rink. I'll tell you more about this cool sport. Sled hockey is for people with disabilities. It started in Sweden in the 1960s. Some men in wheelchairs invented it. They missed playing ice hockey, so they invented a new way to play. In sled hockey, a player sits on a special sled. The sled has 2 metal blades. It works just like a big ice skate. Sled hockey is a little different from ice hockey. Ice hockey players use 1 stick, but sled hockey players use 2 sticks. They are shorter than ice hockey sticks. Each stick has a pick at one end. These picks help players move across the ice. The other end has a wooden blade. The blade is for shooting the puck. Otherwise, sled hockey is just like ice hockey. Each team has 5 players and a goalie. Players wear face masks, helmets, gloves, and pads. They shoot the puck into the net to score. Today, people play sled hockey all over the world. It's a very fast and fun game. I'm ready to get on the ice. Watch this. I skate. I shoot. I score!
A new adventure. Callie hurried into the community center with her best friend Allison trailing after her.
How did you ever convince me to join Teen Club?
Allison muttered.
It'll be fun.
Callie said.
And this summer is going to be so much better than last summer. Remember how we sat around every single day doing nothing? It was so boring.
If you ask me,
Allison said.
That's the whole point of summer break. Doing nothing.
The girls joined some other teenagers sitting in a circle. The club leader, Sophia, asked everyone to introduce themselves, and then she told them about the club.
We're going to do lots of activities here in the city. But we'll also leave the city for some new adventures. Our first outing is next week, and I'd really like everyone to go. It will help us get to know each other.
Allison had perked up when Sophia mentioned adventures.
Where are we going?
Up to Treetop Mountain for a zipline ride.
Sophia said. Allison gripped Callie's arm.
I've always wanted to zip line.
She whispered.
And I heard Treetop's course is awesome.
Callie nodded and forced a smile, but awesome wasn't the word that had popped into her mind. Her word was terrifying. Callie walked home slowly, preoccupied by the outing to Treetop.
I can't go ziplining.
She thought for the 100th time. High places terrified her. She couldn't imagine flying high above trees on a rope. Nor could she imagine a way to get out of it. Sophia wanted the whole teen club to go. Plus, Allison was really excited, and Callie couldn't bear to let her down. As Callie approached an apartment building, she put up a hand to shield her eyes from the sun.
Am I seeing a mirage?
She joked.
Or is that really Nate Garcia holding a book instead of a game controller?
Oh, it's me, all right. The new and improved me. Nate rolled his eyes. My grades dropped this year, so I've been ordered to do more reading. And I have to stop hanging out with my friends who play too many video games. What are you up to this summer? Callie told him about Teen Club. Nate's mother abruptly stuck her head out of a window.
He'll join that club too. Nate needs to keep busy and find the right friends.
The following week, Callie found herself staring out the window as the bus climbed the winding road up Treetop Mountain. The driver parked at the top, and the kids headed over to where Jeff, the guide, was waiting for them. Callie was trying to calm her nerves, but they weren't cooperating.
Who's ziplined before?
Jeff asked. Only Nate and another kid raised their hands.
No problem.
Jeff continued, walking over to where the helmets and harnesses were.
I'm going to demonstrate exactly what to do.
After the lesson, everyone buckled on harnesses and helmets. Then, they walked through the woods until they reached a platform where 2 zip lines started.
When it's your turn, I'll clip your harness to a cable,
Jeff said.
When I say now, step forward and keep your legs in front of you.
Soon, Allison and Sophia were zooming off, whooping with delight. Callie stayed at the back of the line, pacing around as her heart pounded and her legs wobbled. She bent over, desperately trying to remember Jeff's instructions. Are you okay? Callie straightened up to see Nate gazing at her.
Not really.
She confessed.
Because I'm scared. Really, really scared.
You can do it, Nate said. Callie shook her head, but Nate kept reassuring her. Just remind yourself that ziplining is fun and safe, and take deep breaths. I'll be riding on the other zipline, and afterward, you'll be glad you tried it. Jeff beckoned to Nate and Callie. It was their turn. Nate took off first. Callie breathed deeply as Jeff clipped her harness to the cable.
Now,
He said, and Callie quickly stepped off the platform.
Whoa!
She cried as she bounded forward.
I'm flying!
As cool air rushed past, she closed her eyes. When she opened them again, she gaped at the beautiful expanse spread out in front of her. Blue sky was everywhere, and below, the trees were a brilliant green canopy. Allison and the others cheered as Callie reached the other side.
Amazing! I did it!
Callie cried, flashing Nate an exhilarated smile. As he grinned back, a new thought struck her. His eyes were as blue as the sky.
Gymnastics tryout trouble. Sage peeled a banana, her favorite after-practice snack, as she and her best friend Lourdes walked out of park gymnastics.
I can't believe the tryouts for Misty Blackwell's gymnastics camp are next Saturday.
Sage said. For 3 years in a row, she had tried out for the camp run by former Olympian Misty Blackwell. But Misty, a 6-time gold medalist, only chose gymnast with Olympic potential. Since Sage's last rejection, she had been preparing for this year's tryouts. Her parents thought she put too much pressure on herself, but going to the Olympics had been Sage's dream forever.
I'm so nervous about the tryouts.
Lourdes said.
You're going to make it this year.
Sage said firmly.
You're the best gymnast at park. Besides, it's our last chance. We'll be too old next year. Plus, maybe the camp will help us catch up to Emmy.
Emmy Wilson was the top gymnast at Park's rival gym and had been to the camp 3 times already.
There's a rumor that Emmy's going to train overseas this summer, so she's not trying out.
Lourdes said. Sage's face lit up.
Really?
She grinned. Emmy's absence this year would definitely give Sage an advantage she had never had before.
I'll work extra hard this week to get one step closer to my dream.
When Sage and Lourdes arrived at the tryouts, the gym was packed with gymnasts and spectators. The girls joined the line at the registration table just as Misty Blackwell walked past. The famous gymnast stopped briefly to greet them.
I remember you two from last year. Good luck with your tryouts.
Sage froze.
Thank you, Miss Blackwell.
She remembered us?
Lourdes said.
I need to make sure that she remembers my performance, too.
Sage said. The girls took their seats and waited for the tryouts to start.
First up,
The announcer called.
Emmy Wilson.
Lourdes gasped.
What's she doing here?
I guess the rumors were wrong.
Sage mumbled. As Sage watched Emmy's performance, she could feel her anxiety mounting. Emmy's technique was perfect. But Sage couldn't let it rattle her.
If Emmy can give a perfect performance, so can you.
She told herself sternly.
You've worked hard all week for this.
After Emmy gave a final bow, the announcer called Sage to the floor.
Sage Herbert.
Lourdes flashed her a sympathetic look.
It stinks that you have to go right after Emmy.
Sage tried to brush it off.
I'm super prepared. Emmy isn't the only one with Olympic potential.
That's the right attitude.
Lourdes grinned.
Good luck.
Sage walked onto the mat and breathed in deeply. As the music started, she raised her arms, striking a pose before tiptoeing backward to the edge of the mat. She was preparing for her first big move, a series of fast-forward flips across the mat. But something instantly felt wrong. Had her last step been too wide? Yes, and her heel had gone out of bounds.
Such a stupid mistake!
A voice in her head screamed. Quickly, she tried to reassure herself.
You can make up for the error. Yesterday at practice, your routine was perfect.
With that, Sage began her running start for the first flip. Suddenly, everything seemed to move in slow motion. Her right foot wasn't in position. Her last step was awkward. She couldn't regain her balance. And then, bam! Sage flopped face down onto the mat. Gasps rose from the crowd, and tears sprang to Sage's eyes. She wanted to get up and run away, but years of competing had taught her that quitting was not an option. As she picked herself up, the crowd applauded. She improvised a few poses and then bravely continued her routine. After the tryouts, Sage sat in a booth at Frosty Spoon, staring at Lourdes' certificate. Lourdes handed Sage a frozen yogurt, then discreetly slipped the certificate onto the seat, out of Sage's sight.
Even the best gymnasts fall.
Lourdes said. Sage sighed.
I know. But even if I hadn't fallen, I wouldn't have gotten into Misty's camp.
What?
Lourdes said.
But you were so prepared, and you've done so well in competitions this year.
True.
Sage agreed.
But there were lots of amazing gymnasts today, including you, all more talented than I am. My dream probably wasn't very realistic after all.
But it's good to dream big.
Lourdes protested.
Dreams are great,
Sage said.
but not all dreams can come true.
Does this mean you're going to quit gymnastics?
I'm not sure what it means yet,
Sage said.
but I won't quit.
Lourdes looked sad and uncomfortable.
I'm disappointed about my poor tryout.
Sage added quickly.
But you know what? I'm going to be fine. Gymnastics might even be more fun without all the pressure I've been putting on myself.
Good point.
Lourdes said. Sage dipped her spoon into the bowl of frozen yogurt. She said, smiling.
It's my favorite flavor, banana.
Old-School Basketball.
Finally, PE!
Brianna began doing warm-up stretches.
I wonder what we'll do today.
Allie said. It had been too snowy for the past month to hold PE outside.
I don't care. Anything is better than history class.
Brianna said.
It's so boring.
Mrs. Farrow, the PE teacher, entered the gymnasium carrying 2 large trash cans and a soccer ball.
Are we playing soccer inside?
Miguel asked hopefully.
That doesn't explain the trash cans.
Brianna said. Mrs. Farrow grinned.
We are having a history lesson.
No, not history.
Brianna moaned.
Ugh.
Mrs. Farrow ignored the complaint.
It was a snowy winter in Massachusetts in 1891.
She began.
Too snowy for baseball or football. A group of college students was stuck inside for every PE class, so their teacher invented a new game for them to play. Today, we're going to play that game.
This might be better than regular history class.
Brianna thought.
The teacher's name was James Naismith.
Mrs. Farrow said.
He based his idea on a throwing game from his childhood in Canada. The targets he decided on were peach baskets, but these are the best I can do.
She gestured to the trash cans.
Now, to get them in place.
The custodian brought a ladder and fastened a trash can high on the gym wall. The kids laughed at the sight. As the custodian put another trash can on the opposite wall, Mrs. Farrow divided the students into teams of 9.
The point of the game is to get the ball into your opposing team's trash can.
Mrs. Farrow explained.
You cannot run with the ball or touch the other players. Whichever team scores the most goals wins.
That sounds like basketball.
Brianna said.
Exactly!
Mrs. Farrow said.
But why do you have a soccer ball?
Allie asked.
Early basketball players used soccer balls.
The teacher answered.
Real basketballs weren't made until 1894. They were made from leather and stitched together.
She patted the soccer ball.
Ready for the tip-off?
Brianna faced off against Miguel. Basketball was her favorite game, but she never thought it had any connection to history. The teacher tossed the ball high, and both kids leaped for it. Brianna made contact first, sending the ball straight to Allie. Allie dribbled. Tweet! The whistle sounded.
I forgot to mention dribbling the ball wasn't allowed until 1909.
Mrs. Farrow said.
The only way to move the ball is to pass it to someone else.
They started again. Brianna caught a pass from Kevin, the soccer ball feeling strangely soft and light in her hands. She shot the ball over Miguel's head. It clanged into the trash can. Allie gave her a high five.
You're better at history than you thought.
First goal.
Mrs. Farrow said.
Now we just need to get the ball back.
The players waited while the teacher climbed the ladder and retrieved the ball.
Don't make too many goals.
The teacher joked.
Real baskets are definitely better than trash cans or peach baskets.
Brianna said. After another 15 minutes, Miguel's team was in the lead by 1 goal. Mrs. Farrell blew her whistle again to signal the end of play.
Phew!
Brianna was breathing hard but grinning.
That was a good game.
Mrs. Farrell gathered the class together.
What do you think of old school basketball?
It's hard not to dribble the ball,
Miguel said.
And it's strange to have more than 5 on a team.
Allie added.
A lot is the same, though.
Brianna said.
Making baskets, passing the ball, not touching the other players.
The teacher nodded.
Mr. Naismith wanted to make a game that was all about skill and strategy, not force.
Brianna smiled.
I still prefer modern basketball, but the old school game was fun.
Does that mean you like history now?
Mrs. Farrow asked. Brianna laughed.
Not exactly.